At the end of the never-ending story, everything comes down to one moment. Not a battle, not a spectacle, not some complicated strategy. A moment, a decision, a name. Bastian has to give the Empress a name. And what is so powerful about that moment is this. He's not asked to overpower the problem. He's not asked to work it out. He's not asked to become a different person first. He's asked to choose, to speak, to name, to participate in the rebuilding of the world through intention, and then act. And that act rebuilds everything, not with complexity, with clarity, with decision, with ownership. That is why the scene hits so deeply, because you know what it feels like to stand at the edge of a decision that changes everything. You know what it feels like to sense that something important is waiting for you. Not someday, now. That's the moment you're in when you create a trust. You're not filling out paperwork, you're not checking a box. You are naming the structure of your life. You are saying, this is how my world is meant to work. This is how what I have built continues. This is who steps in. This is what stays protected. This is what matters most. This is what does not get left to confusion. This is what does not get handed over to a default system. You're taking what may have been vague in your mind and giving it form. That is what naming does. It takes something unstructured and makes it real. It takes something floating in the background in your mind and brings it into order. It takes good intentions and turns them into a system that can actually carry weight. That is why this matters so much. Because most people live with important things in an undefined state. They mean well, they care deeply, they want things to go well, but they've never translated those desires into structure. So what they have is hope. And hope is beautiful. But hope is not a plan. Hope does not create flow. Hope does not remove confusion. Hope does not tell people what happens next. Structure does. That is the power of a trust. You're deciding how things flow, not in a controlling way, in a clear way. You're deciding who steps in, not because you're expecting chaos, but because leadership creates continuity before it's needed. You are deciding what continues, the values, the momentum, the order, the care, the vision. You are deciding what matters enough to be protected by design. That's not fear, that's authorship. That's maturity. That's leadership at its quietest and strongest. And when that structure's finally in place, something shifts inside of you, not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because uncertainty loses its grip. You relax, not theoretically, not all at once, but deeply. The kind of exhale you didn't realize you'd been holding. You breathe differently. Because there's a difference between carrying responsibility and carrying undefined responsibility. One feels meaningful, the other feels heavy. One gives you direction, the other drains your energy in the background. That is what so many people are feeling and cannot quite name. It's not just that they have important responsibilities, it's that those responsibilities have not been fully organized. They're carrying concern without structure, care without a container, love without a system. And when a trust is put in place, that changes. Now your care has form. Now your intentions have language. Now your responsibility has rails. Now the people you love are supported by something stronger than memory or assumptions. And because of that, you stop hoping things work out. You have designed them to. That sentence matters because there is a world of difference between wishing for peace and building it, between wanting clarity and creating it, between assuming things will be okay and putting the right system in place so it's no longer left to chance. That's what most people are actually looking for. Not documents, not binders, not signatures. Those are just the visible pieces. What they're really looking for is peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing that important things have been handled. Clarity, kind that removes friction from the future. Confidence, not borrowed confidence, not motivational confidence, grounded confidence. the kind that comes from knowing your foundation is solid. And with that, you move forward fully, without hesitation, because the open loop is closed, without second guessing, because the decision has been made, without that low grade tension quietly following you through otherwise beautiful days, because now there's a structure under the life you're building. That is what a solid foundation does. It does not make life smaller, it makes life freer. It gives you more room to live, more room to focus, more room to enjoy what you've built because you're no longer carrying the background anxiety of what has been left undefined. That is the hidden gift in all of this. Trust is not just about what happens later, it changes the emotional quality of life now. You sleep better, you think cleaner, you show up more fully. Because when the foundation is solid, your energy is no longer spent bracing for what hasn't been handled. It's available for living, for building, for leading, for being present. That's why this moment in the story matters. Bastian names the Empress, and the world begins. You create a trust, and your world gains structure. Not because a document is magical, even though I think it is, but because intention, when given form, changes everything. It turns a wish into a system, a burden into a plan, a hope into a framework. And once that happens, you're not just someone who cares, you're someone who has created order. You're not just someone with good intentions, you are someone with structure. You're not just trusting that things will continue, you're the one who made the continuation possible. That's the shift from uncertainty to design, from background tension to grounded peace, from loose ends to leadership, because now the foundation is solid. And when the foundation is solid, the story can keep moving. You already feel it, that shift that I've been talking about, that realization that this isn't about someday. This is about how you live right now, with clarity, with structure, with intention. If you're ready to put that structure in place, there's a simple next step. A 20-minute conversation. No pressure, no obligation, just clarity. A chance to see what your story could look like with the right system behind it. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your story. Make it a good one. If you enjoy these videos, please like, share, comment, or subscribe. And for more information, visit legallifeplan.com.